Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me tonight. It is Monday, December 29th, and I wish we were having a game tonight, but we're not. So I see a couple of people jumping on here and joining in. I wish I had good news, but I have sad news. So I will jump into it. I know some people will probably watch this later on and kind of get the news. And I think there's some messages here that are important to pass on for all of us. So normally we would be playing session 4 of ShadowRim tonight with our guest GM Chubby Funster and a couple of other friends like Better with Bacon, Jeff from Death Angel Shadow, Luke House, and myself. And who am I missing? I think I'm missing somebody else in there. I don't know. So unfortunately, I got news this morning from Chubby, talking to him and the guys on Discord, that Luke had taken his own life this morning. So I'll just say I did not know Luke very well, or he was not a close friend. I've only known him for about 4 months or so. And he played in several of our games. He played with the older group, with the original Monday night group, which I hope will get back together again and play soon here in the new year. That's Tim Shorts and Vance Atkins and Flint Fireforge, a.k.a. Paul Turner, and Ken Harrison and so forth. Joe the Lawyer played with that group and plays with us once in a while. But we had Chubby Funster on playing with us, and we needed to fill a seat. So Chubby's friend Luke House had joined us, and ironically, Luke lived about 20 minutes from me in the Houston area, and kind of got to know Luke. Super guy, just a really nice guy, always positive, very upbeat, as far as I could see, what I saw on the surface, but was a wonderful guy to game with and play games with. I know he played with Greg Christopher. That's Chubby Funster, Greg's real name. Chubby's real name is Greg Christopher. And Greg played with Luke for about 10 plus years. So knew him a long, long time. And in fact, last summer at North Texas in Dallas at the con, got to meet 2 of Luke's 3 older children. He had 3 children. If you're just joining in, we lost a member to suicide this morning, Luke House. I'm sorry. Chubby wanted to convey the message. He did through his channel, and you can check out his message about Luke. But he didn't think he could keep it all together, and I understand that. He's known him a lot longer than any of us had in the group. But Luke was nice enough to come on my channel, on this channel, and make a couple of videos with me about 2 months ago. We made 2 videos on like 5 resources for GMs to use when you're playing Shadowdark and similar RPGs. Very knowledgeable guy, loved the hobby, loved the game, loved meeting people. Was just very supportive, very upbeat, and a good player. Good player. He'd have to be playing in Chubby's game for a long time. So we are really, really going to miss him. And you just don't know what's going on inside of somebody's head or in their personal life. I will say over the years, it's not unique to our hobby. There are people in all walks of life dealing with depression, pondering ending it all. Suicide seems like the way out. I'm not here to judge them. I don't know, and I don't have those answers. But if you have a friend and things look strange or look, something's off, they're down, they're constantly depressed, if you even suspect, say something. Ironically enough, we played last Monday right here with Luke. And after we played, we realized that, we rush into these one-shot sessions sometimes, or these mini campaigns, and we don't always communicate very well with our characters. We're playing Shadowdark, so we have that rotating initiative, and sometimes we'll all go in different directions and it becomes scatterbrained. Well, that's a communication problem. That's a breakdown, like Led Zeppelin said, a communication breakdown. Insert rim shot here. So we talked about it after the session. We're like, we need to communicate better. I don't know if we want to use a caller like old school D&D, where one person's kind of the voice of the group, or do we want to use a party pog to move around and then, break into our individual tokens on the board, on the screen when an encounter happens, that kind of thing. We talked about it, but I remember Luke saying that, we need to communicate better. We need to talk better about what we want and what's going on and what our intentions are, in a way that was maybe a metaphor. I don't think there was any secret motive in what he was saying. All of us have things. We don't always show our face of what's really going on in our life, what makes us happy, what breaks our heart, those kind of things. And I don't really know what drove him to those ends. I just feel a loss, and we all should. So if you're dealing with somebody that you think has a problem, you know what I'm going to tell you: get them some help. And if it's you're thinking about ending your life, talk to somebody, talk to anybody you can. The number you would call or text is, we all know 911. Well, for suicide and crisis assistance, a helpline, a lifeline that can mean the difference, even if it doesn't to you at the time. Luke left behind a wife and 3 kids. But that number is 988. Pick up your phone, dial 988. It's free, it's confidential and private. It's 24/7, and they can put you in contact with local counselors who can help and will talk to you and will listen. Why is that important? Well, you're going to get in touch with somebody that'll listen without judgment. They're not going to take sides. They're not going to say, geez, you're a terrible person. It doesn't matter what you've done or what you think somebody else has done. You need to talk to somebody to lower the heat and to find out that, this too shall pass. Sometimes life, dog piles on all of us, and you have to cope. And some people hit a breaking point where they can't cope anymore. So there's emotional support for people in crisis by dialing 988. There's also help with a safety plan to maybe diffuse the situation, so suicide does not become your only option, and it never should be. And like I said, they'll also help you with referrals to local mental health services. Get some help, talk to somebody. I've experienced it with family members in my own life, and I'm sure most of you have. It's a very sad fact of life. It's like dealing with cancer. We all know someone who's dealt with cancer. We all have a friend. We all have that high school friend that we were close to and lost track of over the years, and suicide became his or her, answer. And I just have to believe there has to be a better answer. So no game tonight. If you're just catching up late, we lost Luke House, one of our members, committed suicide this morning. And leaves behind a family. Luke was, I think, a Purdue guy and got educated, a couple of degrees in IT and security analysis, that sort of thing. Served in the U.S. Army for 3 or 4 years, I think, looking at some of his information online. He and I never even talked about that, but he was a veteran. He's a good guy. So if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. We'll talk about it for a little bit. And if there's nothing else to say, I'll wrap it up and keep it short here tonight. I appreciate you guys joining in. I just thought somebody's got to go on and talk to everybody. And, this is bigger than our hobby. We're all so lucky that, we all have serious lives and families and work, but we're lucky we get to play a game, a frivolous game. Many of us, learned how to play when we were kids, and we get so much enjoyment from it. And I know Luke did as well. So, hang on a second. I think Jeff wants to jump on the channel. This is Jeff. Hey, Jeff. How are you, bud? Oh, I don't hear you. I don't hear you. Are you on mute there?
How's that?
There you go. There you're on. Thank you,
Yeah.
Michael Stengel. I see your comment. Yeah, we're very sorry also to hear about losing Luke. And again, I'm not a close friend. I only got to know him in the last few months, but just a terrific guy, just the best of the best from what I could see. And really, if you get a chance and you're online in the next couple of days or next week or so and you see Chubby, extend your condolences, because they were friends and played together for a decade.
10 years, yeah.
There's Greg there. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And we got your back. We got your back, Greg. Whatever you need, man, you let us know.
Yeah. We'll switch gears. We'll go to Greg Christopher. Greg, I think I've known Greg only about a year. I haven't known him that long, but we've gotten to be good friends and talk quite frequently, usually about gaming stuff. But I just want to thank him. He's always been very helpful for me trying to write products and zines and things, or zines, as he says. I jokingly remind him, but he and Eric Tink are the only two people I know that on the internet that say zines. But maybe we'll have a separate show on the pronunciation game a different night. But yeah, I wish I knew more to tell you about Luke, other than I thought it was important to come on, Jeff, and just talk to people and say, hey, look, we all have friends. We all have people trying to cope. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to have that call afterwards and talk to somebody and just say, are you okay? Is everything all right? Hey, Bacon's there too.
Yeah.
Thanks for jumping on, James. So everybody's thinking about it. And the funny thing is, Luke was not a dungeon tuber. He's not a YouTuber.
Nope.
I
even had asked, I'm like, hey, does Luke have a channel? He said, not yet. So, there was that possibility that he was going to start one at some point. And I was kind of looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
And
I think he wanted to do more with the hobby, but again, we don't know what demons and what's tearing at somebody's heart and what's in the back of their head and what they're dealing with in real life. And you don't have to know all that. You don't have to pass judgment on somebody. You just have to listen, really,
right,
and let them know that somebody gives a shit. Somebody cares, because somebody in the pits of despair and everything looks bleak and black to them. They don't think anybody's there and anybody cares, and nothing is ever going to change and nothing's ever going to get better. Well, that's where you can help, or at least point them to somebody. Again, 988, that 988 number, it can be the difference between life and death. And, Luke's struggle's over, but for those 3 kids and his wife and friends and other family, it's just starting.
Right.
And I know, Luke was he was a very good man. And Greg will tell you that he was a very good man. He had a good heart. We'll never understand. You just got to get past that. And, I'm not a religious person, but if you believe in the power of prayer, mention Luke and his family and friends. What else? Any other questions or thoughts? Life will go on for all of us, but Jeff, when I started my channel, and I know you're getting fired up here in the last couple of weeks. You're really starting to do a couple of channels and a lot of stuff, and I'm sure
Yeah.
you're going to blow up in the next year yourself.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you as one of those people. There's a lot of familiar names here logging in, and some of these people I've never talked with, but I think Michael Stengel, who's Chthonic Musings 188, he was one of the first people when I started doing this who kind of got on there, and he and I have talked offline. The whole reason I even do this, there's nothing wrong with trying to do it as a business model and make some money and be a YouTuber and all that. That's great if that's what you're doing. That wasn't my thing. It's never been my thing. I really got on here to make friends who were interested in gaming, and to meet more people. And I'll be damned if it hadn't worked out. I play every Monday night. Tomorrow night,
Yeah.
I'm playing with the guys I play Black Sword Hack with, and I'm introducing them to Watcher DM, Gabriel, up in Vancouver. Gabriel's
yeah.
going to GM a game for us, but that's a different group over there. But I just want to talk to people about gaming, and I come across sometimes people. I've had one or two. You don't see their names on here. They're not here tonight. They're usually not on here, but every once in a while they'll engage, because I try to be very accommodating and very open and very welcoming with my channel, because it's really just about talking with other gamers. And
Right.
every once in a while I'll have one or two reach out that, they mention they have problems. And it's like, that's a sign, you don't have to get hit on the head. If somebody needs to talk, they need help them out, be that friend. You don't have to be their best friend or the closest friend in the world. Just, put an arm around a shoulder and see if they're all right. See what kind of help they need, or point them in the right direction.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
go
think
ahead,
I
Jeff.
think a lot of people were isolated there for a number of years, and I think there's a lot of people that mainly haven't been able to get out of that and reconnect, and you need to, you need, even if it's online, even if, I mean, somebody's, reach out to me, reach out to, uh, any of us, we don't, we're all gamers, we got that commonality in there, um, and we trust me, it will get better. I've been in, a couple of situations that were the worst time of my life, and I was forced into being homeless, sleeping in my truck with my dog and my wife at rest area. So it does get better. There is there's always, when you're at rock bottom, you think you can't see, but really there is. And reach out to your friends, reach out to people that can help. If you're really on the line, on the precipice there, call that 988 number, um, talk to people. We're not everybody out there is a troll. Yeah, there's a lot of them, but
That's a great point, Jeff. I think because we all play in a hobby that some of us are lucky enough to play in person, like my old 5e group, which is nieces and nephews and all that. We're getting together for the first time in forever on the 9th, and we're going to play in person. But I've been playing online here for so long now that this is the way it is. And you're right. There is a lot of anonymity in Discord and on YouTube. And yeah, there's trolls and people who throw crappy comments around. And there's no, I don't think any of us have time for that or want to play that game. But to a person who's down and to a person whose, life is kicking in the nuts, those things can be extremely painful and extra painful. And we just don't need it. I can't police it. You can't police it. But don't tolerate it. Don't put up with it in your group. If someone's being a dick, either kick them out or whatever, because it can have a real adverse effect on people that you play with, and you just don't know what's going on in somebody else's life. M. Melnick in the comments said it's important that people look for the signs of suicide and get comfortable asking about it with those they're worried about. Yeah, and it's not comfortable. It's not a comfortable thing to talk to your friend and say, are you all right? Where's your head at? Is it too much? Is it work? Is it family? Is it money? We all have the same problems. They're
Oh
all
yeah.
some version of the same thing over and over again, and we've all been there. But just having someone listen and show that they give a damn sometimes can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Jeff, you've seen it. I've seen it. So
Yeah.
I wish things would have been different for Luke.
I wish I knew him better and I could have, learned. That's the thing, but people keep like that stuff close to the vest, They
They do.
don't want to let it out and oh, you got to have some good friends out there that you can
Excuse
that
me.
it, that you can chat with, that you can talk freely with and they don't have to be gamer friends, but if you've got something in common with people, everybody struggles, There's always life throws you curveballs, It just does, And you have to deal with them as they come and sometimes you need a little help from your friends. I hate to be cliche, but
Do.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and we all experience loneliness. I've seen people I've brushed across just doing this and doing YouTube and stuff that I'm like, that's a lonely man. That's a lonely young man. That's a lonely older man.
yeah.
I only say that because I don't know any women and no women follow anything that I do. So I think it's primarily a male marketplace. But
I'll get my wife
women
to
have the
follow you. Will
same.
that make you better?
Yeah, yeah. Women have the same issues and the same problems.
Yes,
Unfortunately,
they do.
as men, it doesn't. There's
Yeah.
no difference for the sexes. Um, but sometimes I can just tell. I can tell somebody, and they're wanting to make friends. They're playing solo, or not that everybody playing solo is depressed.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Despite what we joke about and all that, I
I
like playing solo sometimes as an alternative. But you hear it all the time. People say, "No, yeah, I don't have anybody near me to play with. I don't know anybody to play the game with." Well, invite them into your game. What's the
yeah.
worst thing that can happen? If it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. Just be a mensch, be a good person. Don't be a jerk. Give somebody a chance. So I don't know. I don't have any answers, and I didn't prepare anything. I just felt like, you know, we're a family in a sense. You guys are nice enough to watch us screw around and have fun on Monday nights, and I
Yeah.
really do appreciate it more than you'll ever know. And
Um,
I learned from all of you too. I learned from Jeff, and I learned from Chubby, and I learned from Bacon and all the rest of the guys. So it is a communal thing. I owe them, they owe me. We all look out for each other. Let's do a better job of watching out and watching for signs and trying to avoid the next Luke House problem.
yeah, yeah. And we gotta make sure that we, support Greg and those that work close with him, um, because it's rough, man. Losing people is rough. At any age, um, I've been through enough death, my wife and I both, between, our parents and,
Mm.
every that's why we moved up here. We didn't have anybody left in Florida, so we moved up here, And then I lost my best friend here. He was one of my players. He was the guy who trained me when I started, at the company I work for now. And you know, it- no, his wasn't. His loss was tragic in its own right, just because he didn't listen to the signs that he was getting that wound up being a blood clot. Um, but there's signs with depression and things like that too. So you just gotta check and see, and if somebody is, yeah, I'm just kind of down, well, hey, what can I do to make it better, or you want to talk about it, you want to, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah, it's weird because not everybody is a paramedic. Not everybody is a,
Right.
an ER surgeon and saves lives. There's different ways to save lives. And sometimes the
Hmm.
most simple thing is just looking and facing what you see, what is obvious and what is true, and saying something's not right. There's a problem. And then having the gumption and having a little bit of getting over the discomfort and asking a question. The worst thing that could happen is you're wrong and your friend says, "Oh, no, 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 it's not that. I just have a cold, or I've been down recently, or wife and I have been, fighting lately,
Hmm.
whatever." So you have a little talk about it and you move on. That's the worst thing that can happen. But we got to
Let
get over the
let
shock.
them know you're there, though.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
hey, you can always message me. You can always DM me on Discord. You can always text me if you got my number. That type of thing. Email me, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It's
Communicate. Yeah,
yeah,
communicate. Be
yeah,
human.
yeah. I mean, Luke was right. Yeah, we need communication is a key thing, and I think we were still we were so early in the game, as a group playing together. What this was going to be our fourth session,
Yeah,
so you know we were still, I think, in a way, getting to know each other,
very much,
and our
very
play
much.
styles and stuff like
Well,
that.
I don't think you were on yet, Jeff, and I don't know if you knew this, but he only lived like 20 minutes from me, 25 minutes
Oh
from me here
wow,
in the west side of, sorry, the west side. I don't even know where I am, in the north side of Houston.
yeah,
So, and I don't think I met him last year at North Texas, but he was there. So he and I had talked about getting together at one of the local game shops and doing some stuff and maybe getting together, in the real world. So it
yeah,
wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. But I just feel so bad for those kids because they're going to be missing a dad and growing up the rest of the way and always wondering what might have been
yeah,
and how they felt cheated out of having him for the rest of their lives. So yeah, a bit of a gut punch today. So apologies for not playing tonight. I'm sure you all totally understand why we decided to cancel the game. We'll pick up. We'll move on. I imagine we'll try to get going and play next Monday night.
hmm,
We'll tell Luke stories and we'll refer to him, and because he did some boneheaded shit. We were playing that Scarlet Minotaur thing from the starter module, I guess, right? For Shadowdark.
yeah.
We were almost out, and we'd beaten the Minotaur and we were almost out, and he had to go through that trap door and get us all killed at the last second. So
You were in the other game with him too.
yeah, I actually played a couple of different games with him. Because Chubby had joined our group, the original Monday night group, and those guys will probably come back next year, and then I'll kind of juggle whatever. Hey, that's a good problem to have if we have too many people to play and we need two different nights, two different groups.
Yeah,
But yeah, so he brought Luke in because we needed an extra player one night. He invited, and that's how we all met Luke. And he was just a really smooth, great fit, really good guy, like yourself. And we don't play with anybody who's a jerk and a pain in the ass to handle. We all joke about Joe the lawyer, but Joe's a great guy and he's
yeah.
fun to play with.
I love Joe. I love
Yeah,
giving him crap.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but
He's a
if he ever needed anything, all he's got to do is ask me.
quality guy
I
with a
got his back.
big heart.
Yeah.
So
Same thing
anyway,
with all
well,
you guys. It's
I don't know what else we can say for tonight. Anybody have any closing questions? M. Melnick says it's important that we understand depression does not always look sad. That's
yeah,
right. People with depression can put on a public face so genuinely. Right. Like Robin Williams, there's all these
right.
famous entertainers that comedians, especially, that's how they cope with life is they put on that mask and they put that outward face on, but inside they're torn up.
Yeah,
And you're right, Melnick. Sometimes you never really see what's going on until it's too late. But anyway, all we can do is the best we can do. So I think maybe we'll leave it there. And
yeah.
I hope you all have a good rest of the week. And we'll pick things up and probably be ready to hit it next Monday night. And we'll get back to ShadowRim.
In the new year. Yeah.
Yeah, in the new year. So I look forward to that. I'm actually going to play tomorrow night with that other group because we had that scheduled. Luke wasn't part of that group. They don't know him in different worlds. But
Yeah.
yeah, So unfortunately, that was the news tonight, and just thought we needed to share it with the people that we spend time with on Monday nights. That's you guys. So thanks so much. And Jeff, thanks for coming on. I'm not sure I knew what to say or could do all this.
I'm kind of the same, you know. It just, I'm like, man, you know, kind of blindsided me, man. You know, it's like, wow. I just, I wish I knew him better. I wish, you know, and there's a lot of coulda, shoulda, woulda, and you can't let yourself fall into that trap, you know.
Right.
Just be there for people, and if you're not feeling, if you're feeling kind of down or whatever, talk to somebody, man. You know, that's all I can say. You know, reach out. You know, there are people that will help you. There are professionals that will help you, and your friends. Talk to your friends, man. You know, don't
Absolutely. Absolutely.
don't do something that everybody's gonna be sad about. You know what I mean?
Just keep talking. Keep
Yeah.
talking. If you're hurting and you're miserable, keep talking. Find someone to talk to. Tell people you need help. And if none
Yeah.
of your personal connections work, then call that 988 suicide
Yes.
assistance line.
Yeah.
And tell other people about it too. That could make a big difference to get people talking and try to work through a problem instead of
We don't need to lose any more
Yeah.
people in our group, you know,
That's for sure.
in the
All right, guys.
community.
I think we'll hang it up there. That okay, Jeff? You good?
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Sorry to pass on the bad news. We'll all take a little pause to reflect and remember Luke, and then we'll get back to living our lives. And hopefully we'll all be wiser and smarter the next time an opportunity like this arises, and we can rise to the challenge. So
Well said.
appreciate all you guys. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks so much.
See ya.